Hello neighbor, I'm Robert Burns, and I wanted to take just a brief moment to bring you up to speed by way of this video on the status of House Bill 677, which is the bill to reinstate continuing education as a requirement for auction licensure in the state of Louisiana. Now, as we last reported to you by way of an email distribution, the bill was to be deliberated before the House Commerce Committee on Tuesday, March the 29th. Now, that did not transpire, and so that was the second time there had been a planned discussion of it. It was not even on the agenda for the March 29th. It had previously been on the agenda for March 22nd. And so I contacted Representative Mack's office to see where everything stands on that particular bill, since he is the author of HB 677, the Continuing Education Bill. I spoke with his legislative aide, Ms. Nicole Wilson. She's been nothing but delightful to converse with throughout this, and she said that the present standing of things is that Mr. Mack, Representative Mack, wants to have a sit-down with Jeff Henderson to ascertain exactly what is trying to be accomplished or is to be accomplished, making sure exactly what the goal on this legislation is. Now, I will tell you this, we have gotten quite a bit of feedback in the way of emails. Whenever this thing is deliberated, it is our intent to be on top of this and to be there and to let your sentiments be known. Every sentiment we have got, I will be blunt with you, is against the continuing education, either flat out against it, which is the case in a good bit, but with even those who have said, look, if they bring this back, it's got to be that you can fulfill it online. And look, that's the 800-pound gorilla in the room. It's the thing that we have brought up before LALB meetings, and the board will not. Now, I say the board, I want to make one thing clear. It's not like the whole board is on board on this. No pun intended, no, the whole board is on board. It's not like the entire board is on board with this. You had 2 dissenting votes. The vote was 3-2 at the last meeting to even present this. Ms. Steinkamp, the chairman of the board, and Ms. Darlene Jacobs-Levy, the secretary-treasurer, both voted against even reinstating continuing education. And here's the bottom line, and everybody who's had any knowledge of this knows exactly what's going on. This legislation is being proposed for one reason and one reason only, and that is to try to prop up sagging attendance at LAA conventions. All right, it's that simple. And that's why the board went to this vague, we'll determine what's acceptable, we will determine the providers, we will determine all this, because they don't want, there's a belief that, and I say there's only 3 board members involved here, Mr. Sims, Mr. Henderson, and Mr. Brister kind of came along for the ride, as he often does. He wasn't real sure how he was going to vote on this thing, but you know, we have repeatedly said, are you gonna permit online fulfillment? And all they have to do is put an amendment to this bill and stipulate that licensees would be able to fulfill the requirement online. All right, they won't do that, and I think it's absolutely critical to note the fact they're not even willing to put that one stipulation in this bill, okay? You have a number of online providers that are excellent. Nashville Auction School, a gentleman named Drury sent information down from Illinois. You've just got a number of them. But you know, that would defeat the purpose of boosting attendance at the LAA conventions, wouldn't it? And you can even see some past footage where it was said that we really want this thing to be live only. And when you go so far as to say we will determine the providers, well, then that gives a great deal of flexibility or restriction, as in only the LAA will be an approved provider. Now, Ms. Steinkamp is certainly not ignorant of what's going on. And she is saying that'll happen over her dead body, and I commend her on that, because you certainly cannot legislate a monopoly, and it appears that's what's being attempted to be done here. And so if anyone's wondering what LAPA's position is on this bill, as it is presently worded, and we are in agreement with all the auctioneers who have contacted us on it, and I will have the emails to print out to state before the committee if this thing winds up being deliberated. Is that, look, if you're going to do this, neither the LALB nor any branch of the legislature is supposed to be in the business of propping up a trade association, okay? And that's what's happening here. That's what the whole impetus behind this is. So our position on this bill will be to complete a red card and to testify against it. And the only condition under which that would be changed is if there is an amendment to this bill to permit online fulfillment of the CE requirement. Now, I have no idea whether this bill is going to advance another inch or what. I do know there's strong opposition to it. There is no question about that. Just see some of the emails we've gotten back and you will know that. But we'll just have to see where this goes. But in answer to where LAPA will stand, and when we show up, because we have every intention of showing up at the Commerce Committee, when and if this thing is ever deliberated, we will be submitting a red card, and that red card will be for the reasons I have stated. All right? We're not going to support an effort to prop up a trade association, particularly when, as Reverend Phillips has explained, on this trade association, which goes out of its way to give you episodes of hearings being videotaped, and this board will not even put a link for this trade association up on its website. Reverend Phillips had to sue the LALB, file a writ of mandamus in an attempt to get that link up there. So no, we're not going to support this bill as worded. Change it. Put an amendment. Allow the fulfillment of continuing education online. And let's see who's really interested in truly having continuing education and who out there is just attempting to prop up attendance at LAA conventions. Thank you so much. We'll keep you up to speed on the developments of House Bill 677. Once again, Robert Burns, Vice President of the Louisiana Association of Professional Auctioneers. Thank you so much.